Number 34 is a great example of a transition question where dumb summaries absolutely save us right off the bat. So, look, I usually read the sentences first, but in this case, if I didn't, and I just looked at the words themselves, right? A, in broad terms, is kind of weird. For example, I know what that means. In contrast and nevertheless, I know what those two mean as well. They both mean the same thing. They both mean something like but, right? It's a contrast word. And so that means that they can't both be right, because if they mean the same thing, right, how would I be able to tell the difference? So this is a pretty good example of, like, I'm very confidently able to get myself down to a 50-50 chance without really even reading anything. And look, there are occasionally exceptions to this rule, but it's so rare that you really want to think about these transition words in these more simple terms so that you can see these kinds of connections right away. Now I'm going to look at the sentences, and I'm going to try to do dumb summaries there as well. Try to think about what's going on in the sentences in the simplest way possible. So the first sentence is a long sentence. Long viewed by many as the stereotypical useless major, philosophy is now being seen by many students and prospective employers as in fact very useful and practical major, offering students a host of transferable skills with relevance to the modern workplace. So positive, good. Philosophy is the study of meaning and the values underlying thought and behavior. Well, that just seems like a definition. That doesn't seem positive or negative. It's just kind of describing what it is. And so it's not an example of a skill that philosophy teaches. It's just kind of like the definition of it. So B doesn't really make a lot of sense. A does, and it's not because we are supposed to memorize what this transition word phrase means. It's not going to come up again, but we can get the weird ones more confidently by knowing the common ones, right? So we know, for example, we know in contrast, we know nevertheless. So those ones we can see don't really fit with what we've got. In broad terms is kind of just a way of saying, like, here's what it means in a broad, big picture kind of way. And so it does fit with the fact that we're going from this kind of very positive sentence to a much more neutral definition. In broad terms is like, here's the definition. Transition questions are among the hardest on the writing section because they often involve words that we ourselves do not use very often when we write. However, we do use words that are similar, words like and but and so, these more concise transition words. So if we can get back to the dumb version, we're more likely to understand the connection and see the sentences in the way that we would have written them ourselves. That's what dumb summaries do, is they kind of get us to stop being distracted by the weirdness and focus on the stuff we actually genuinely know. And yeah, occasionally there's a little bit of a twist that lets us get rid of some choices right off the bat too. That's all good.